Okay. Okay. We're here. How do you guys hear me? Is everything good on your end? Okay. Do you guys hear me all right? Okay. Well, hi, long time no see. Oh, dude. It's been so long since the last proper video on the channel. And and a stream as well. So it's good to finally be back. How are you guys? Is everything going on good? Oh, what am I saying? I'm losing all my words straight off the bat. Okay. Let's give everyone, especially me, a grace period of like 5 minutes or something. And then dive straight into the second volume and all the stuff that we've missed in the second volume so far. 10 to 15 seconds delay. Eris, I don't care much about being proper. Okay. Sounds about right. Okay, is my camera delay? Is it fine? I guess it's fine. Phew. Anyway. It's 8:32 p.m. in Moscow. It's been a couple of minutes since we started, so I guess we should slowly begin our little adventure. Lore and trivia adventures, should I say. Okay. Hold on a second. Let me put on a proper mood for this stream. Hell yeah. Hey Lada. By the way, how many of the Elans of Mushoku did you read? Oh, it's a good question. Almost all of them except... almost all of them who are officially released. And I still need to catch up on some of them. I believe I've read everything up to volume 18 or 17. I don't remember. Because I have been focusing so much on the stuff with the second volume. I almost forgot about everything else. Anyway. All right. I guess let's begin. Let me adjust everything so that it looks good on my end. noon here in Y. Wow. I guess it's early for you then. uh, are you guys going to work or to school if you're in America? What are your plans for today? I've just come home from work, and I'm ready to talk Mushoku Tensei this fine evening or morning, whatever it is, where you are from. Okay, so I guess let's begin from the beginning, from chapter 1. There's not too much from this chapter that I've glossed over. The only parts of the chapter that are worth mentioning right now is that, well, the city of Roa is a pretty formidable looking city. There is so much going on, despite the fact that this is not how do you call it? It's not a trading town. It's not a trading center. It's a city that attracts all the ruffians, all the vagabonds and mercenaries of the kingdom. There's a fair bit of action going on in here as well, but it's not many noble and truly powerful people live here. I mean, the most powerful person here is Eris Greyrat. So there's not much to talk about in this regard. Also, it's fun how Rudy started asking Elaine about everything that was going on. He's like this awe-stricken by this entire situation, and this is probably one of the few times when he actually behaves like a child. So yeah, like here, Rudy starts asking Ghislaine about like everything. Like, I glanced at what seemed like a waiting station where people sat with large amounts of luggage. What's that about? I wondered. And he asks Ghislaine what it is. And well, she takes offense. she thinks that he tries to, offend her or something. Like here, are you trying to make fun of me? No, I wondered what that was. I didn't know, so I hoped you would tell me. And then she actually proceeds to tell him everything that he wants to know. She understands that he's a child, and he's just curious. So just a little wholesome interaction here. Everything from this point onward, I've pretty much touched on in the video. If you've seen it, good. Hopefully you left a like and commented on it. If not, then you can go watch it when you can. Okay. I don't think there are a lot of things that need to be spoken of in this chapter. Yeah. Oh. Hold on, let me see. Oh, yeah. There's actually a fun part. I mean, at this point, we don't know much about the relationship between Rudius and Paul, his father. We only know, if you've been in anime only so far, you only know about Paul as Paul as a prick, as a cheater, and that he scolded Rudy one time, and that's about it. Here we actually get a little bit of Rudy's perspective on how he views Paul. For example, here, when he talks to Philip about how he left how he left Sylphie in the Buena village. Here, there's this passage. I'm worried he might even lay his hands on the childhood friend I have left behind in the Buena village. So, Rudy doesn't look at Paul, at least right now. He doesn't see him as a father. He sees him as another male who may even steal his women or something like that. To which Philip says, "Don't worry, Paul is only interested in adult women," which is okay. That's good, I guess. That's something of a redeeming quality. Okay, and then we meet Eris for the first time. We get to know her a little bit, and that's about it. Pum pum pum. Yeah. I'm trying to look for the stuff that I've selected for the stream and not for the video. So I just bear with me for a second. Ghislaine used to Paul, teasing her. Rudy looks like Paul. Yeah, true. That's a good remark. I mean, he is Paul's son, so she expected some kind of trickery from him as well. That's a good point. Yeah. But she also always like on edge when people. She has a little bit of this inferiority complex. She understands that she's not that smart. She's not the sharpest tool in the shed. So there's this little kid who was speaking pretty eloquently up to this point. He just asked, "What's this wagon station?" She's just like, "What? You don't know what a wagon station is? My guy, are you messing with me?" Like, this kind of stuff. Also, there's a little bit more of interaction with Eris. We get to know that she was kicked out of many schools before. Oh, and then there's this Eris development tracker. I mean, I was pretty surprised when I first saw this little graph and the fact that it was occurring every single time after every numbered chapter except for the turning point one, because there's, not much happened between chapter 7 and chapter 8. This is a pretty cool trick, actually. It not only, somehow this works. Usually, if you add development sheets like that in your novel, in your story, or whatever, this just looks lame. It's kind of like, you can't write a good story. You can't rely on your audience to be smart and to figure this stuff out. But this, it's kind of like teaching notes. Like, you keep tabs on your students, and this is what you get, like at the end of every month, every semester, or whatever. So actually, even and talking about setting and themes or whatever, it actually works pretty well, I'd say. I enjoyed these little graphs very much. Okay, so we're going to skip pretty much all of chapter 2, which is Eris's kidnapping and all this situation with them escaping back to Roa. So the only things that I wanted to point out here is that there's this little passage somewhere around. Oh yeah, here. This was actually a pretty traumatizing experience for Eris. Like, she became docile pretty quickly. For the night's stay, I chose a dilapidated-looking shack to teach the young mistress a lesson about how harsh the world could really be. Our beds were made of straw. The young mistress was so wired she couldn't sleep. Every time she heard a sound, she would startle and glare, frightened at the room's entrance. When nothing seemed to be amiss, she would breathe a sigh of relief. She did this over and over. So basically, what the situation was, they needed to wait for the stagecoach. Stagecoach. Sorry, to actually go back to Roa. They bribed the guy in the evening so that he wouldn't tell their pursuers that they were leaving. So, did you see any kids? No, I didn't see anybody. And so that in the morning they could safely leave. But yeah, this was a pretty traumatizing experience. I guess there's even a point when Eris, not like a lady, but like a frightened child, pisses herself. But let's omit that, not pay too much attention to that. Yeah. Oh yeah, and they were trying to sell her for a perverted noble that will pay a high price for a young girl from a noble house. Yeah. So yeah, basically, this was a pretty real shit. They were trying to sell her, or get ransom money. Anyway, pretty gruesome stuff. Not something that I would recommend you practice. Kidnapping was more violent in the anime than I imagined while reading it. Yeah. Although I enjoy that the novel gave a lot of attention to the Eris's mental state. I mean, the scene of her getting beaten by the thug was like, yeah, it was pretty gruesome. It was pretty graphic and detailed. But the length to which the light novel goes to show that, well, she was actually frightened out of her fucking mind. It gave me a new perspective on the character and the entire situation, because in the anime they kind of dealt with that pretty quickly. They escaped pretty easily, if we're not counting that Eris being beaten. There was some comment, oh, you healed me, then fuck you. I got what I wanted. Nah. Eris was like, shit. Just get me out of here, please. So yeah, I like the Elan for doing that. It's like pretty good characterization overall. We'll say the scene where a person is killed in front of Rudius is probably one of the few scenes where I prefer in the anime. Yeah, it was actually it was adapted like pretty good, pretty well. Like, I mean, the graphics of Rudius's pupils just shaking, and the slow pan from his waist and his hands full of blood, like that. That's some pretty good shit. Elan didn't do anything like that. Oh, hi Animus. Thanks for joining in. It's good to see you. Haven't been able to talk much. I mean, there's Discord, so that's good. By the way, guys, if you're here, let me show you something real quick. Let me show you the Discord link for you. Paste it in the chat so that you could join us if you want. We have all sorts of discussions there with Lada and Animus, my trusty and cherished Boosty supporters. So, hey, the more people, the merrier. Okay. Okay, so... oh, sorry. Pum pum pum. Oh, and yeah, the Ghislaine is pretty badass here in this. My god. Ghislaine looks pretty badass in this illustration. She looks like more, how do I say it? She looks more masculine in some of these illustrations, but hey, nothing can make Ghislaine look any less gorgeous. So that's great. Oh, and by the way, just look at Eris's face. She's just devastated beyond belief at this point. Okay, then we get the Eris development tracker once again. Oh, this side story. Oh, I forgot about this one. Oh, yeah. This is the story when we get to know a little more about the whole situation behind the incident, like that it was Butler Thomas who initiated the whole thing, and the reason behind his attempt to kidnap Eris was like, yeah, she kind of annoyed him. She was a brat. No one really cared for her. Really, she dropped out of schools multiple times, so she was this like social misfit. And he thought that, well, this is actually a good opportunity for him to kidnap her and sell her to this unnamed noble, who's unnamed at this point, who really liked younger girls. Yeah. And so yeah, he gets we get all this we got a lot of this in the anime adaptation. Like, well, we get all the explanations how there's some all sorts of stuff going on behind the scenes. Yeah, and this actually is the first interaction with Soras that we see in the anime. As I've said, we get introduced to him in the first chapter of the light novel, but here this is actually the excerpt that was used for the anime adaptation. Anime version was more visceral, extremely, but novel did better job characterizing that moment for her. Yeah, true. Yeah, I like Ghislaine's suspenders in the manga more than her top in the anime. There's some truth to that. I mean, to each their own. Okay. So, yeah. Here, I guess... Oh, and this is the point when Eris does her droopy eyes thing. Yeah, I don't need arithmetic either. Meow. So, basically, the side story got adapted in the anime pretty thoroughly. Okay. Her ferocity unabated. There were some interesting stuff. So, if you didn't know, there's this reappearing character in the light novel. He's like this Rudius's imaginary friend. Like, he's not going schizo or something. It's just that he has this guy, wise old sage, who does all kinds of perverted stuff in his mind. Like this little moment when, he was trying to pull Eris's skirt. Like, And also there was this time in the first volume with I guess this wasn't connected to anything else. Anyway, there's this guy, wise old sage, and here's the illustration. This guy regularly appears in Eris's, in Rudis's mind. He's like he imagines himself speaking with this wise old man who's a hermit and a pervert. So through his interaction with this wise old man, he does all the very perverted stuff that he does. So he kind of he speaks to him, should I do this? And the wise old man goes, yeah, you should. Like, here, you see, giving little thumbs up for the guy who looks, that's like, dude, come on. So yeah, he has these dialogues with him, like, still an A-cup, but I sense great potential for growth. As you age, I will not, and always the ho. I mean, I hate the guy. It's pretty funny sometimes, but dude, no. I'm actually happy they didn't adapt this stuff in the anime. We have Rudis and his entire monologues. That's good enough, I guess. So actually, in this chapter, we get a little bit of lore on how the professions work in this world. The one who taught Rudis how to appreciate the beauties of life. Yeah. 100%. That guy is MC of this favorite video. Probably, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so let me tell you about the roles of warriors in this world, because we get a little bit of information on that. And the example is the Ghislaine's party, the Black Fang, I guess. Was it called the Black Fang or the Dragon's Fang or the Wolf's Fang? Something Fang. I think it was Black Fang. Anyway, so there was this 6-person party. Like, there was a warrior, a swordsman, a swordswoman, a magician, priest, and a thief. And so, thief, okay, pretty straightforward. Thief, magician, priest, swordsman, pretty common names. Thief is just someone. Thief isn't necessarily doing all the thieving and stealing. He just the guy who does all the odd jobs. So the thing, little bit of information in this chapter is that there is a distinction between warriors and swordsmen. Let me quote Ghislaine on that. If you use a sword and one of the 3 primary styles, then you are a swordsman. If you use a different style but still use a sword, you're a warrior. If you use one of the styles but don't use a sword, then you're also a warrior. So, to become a swordsman, you actually need to receive a proper education in one of the sword styles, like Sword God style, North God style, and Water God style. One of those schools. You need to be a recognized follower of one of these schools and also use a sword. If you don't qualify for 2 of those conditions, then you're a warrior. So warriors can use special skills, they can use special moves, they can use battle aura, but they are not as well esteemed. So they don't have technique that is as polished as it is with swordsmen. And knights are just knights. Knights is a profession. It's not much. I love the party stuff. Tank. I'm sorry. LT tank, DPS, DPS, and healer. Yeah, that's a good party composition. Yeah, I mean, come on, you need to survive in this world. One healer is enough. You just need to you just need to protect him. Yeah. So yeah, there's this little basically generalist and specialist. Yeah. So swordsmen are specialist, and if you use any other stuff, then you're considered a warrior. Okay, and there's all the boring slice of life stuff that's going on. Bum bum bum. Oh, and yeah, there's the goal. Oh, and there's a little bit about the books and all the other stuff that was kind of glossed over in anime. So, in the anime, we get introduced to this bookstore. We get introduced to the idea that books in this world are really expensive. And the fact that what's the proper estimation? Oh yeah, it's not this yet. So we get an estimation that books are pretty expensive in this world. Like they're pretty good stuff that will teach you like something useful. But they are manually written. They are not printed yet. There's no way. There's no writing press. I'm sorry, I'm mixing my words up. Anyway, there's no printing press. Everything is written by hand by mages in their lofty towers or whatever. And so we get the idea on how much you can expect from a bestseller in this world. Like, there we talk about the magic textbook and the the textbook. We talk about the textbook here. Though the book was now considered a bestseller, there weren't many copies made at the time it was written. Even with enough copies for it to circulate well, those without an interest in magic would have simply ignored it. It wasn't until 500 years later that it finally started being distributed en masse. So yeah. I messed up something in my head. So there was a way to there was no printing press, like as of printing press as we know it, but I don't remember. It seemed to be later in this volume, but there was but yeah, here's we know that there was a boom of printing and distribution of the book. So they became like 7 to 10 gold coins a piece, which is not cheap, but relatively cheap. And yeah, this is suddenly anyone could get their hands on a magical textbook cheaply. So the number of magicians increased greatly. It wasn't as though the world suddenly boomed with magicians, but in the kingdom of Asura at least, magic became a part of the curriculum for many noble families. So yeah, there was there's my answer that I was looking for. I thought it would appear later. So yeah, there are no magic. There are no University of Magic invented some kind of stuff. I forgot which kind. It may. It's a spoiler. It's a spoiler. But it's a spoiler. But the printing press will be will be implemented later. But I will not talk about the circumstances around it. Yeah. So I get yeah. There were just there was another method that we will not concern ourselves with it. Oh my. Staff meeting Sunday. Nothing happens in this chapter, as I said before. It's just it's an empty chapter. Nothing is written on these pages. Sorry. It was the same. Yeah, true. I find interesting that swordsmen are more powerful, but warriors are harder to deal with because of the lack of style. Yeah, that's kind of the big idea behind this division. Swordsmen, because they have a structure, they have a tradition, they have a school, they are able to become pretty powerful. Like, take for example the sword god style. The ultimate move, or the sword god style, the sword of light or the blade of light, is so fast that it travels literally at the speed of light and is able to destroy pretty much anything on its path. So the sword god is a pretty powerful guy. What happened after that? Another swordsman who tried to counteract the sword god invented a style to counteract him. It was the water god style. Water god style is focused on counterattacks, so that you can basically block and reverse any type of attack, even magic spells, if you are skilled enough water god style swordsman. North god style is just a mishmash of everything that can be useful. Like, so it's, you may know this from the anime, you should know this. So North god style got invented basically by many different people at different points in time, usually mercenaries and bandits, because they couldn't get their hands on the higher education of swordsmanship. They couldn't become, they couldn't learn the sword god or water god style properly, so they had to come up with something else so that they would not fall behind all the guards, all the other mercenaries who relied pretty heavily on their swordsmanship. I'm sorry, my cat is here causing ruckus. You've already ruined my microphone once. I don't want you to ruin it again, so please stay away. Anyway, so yeah, and the warriors, they don't have these kind of traditions. They just go with the flow. I can hit pretty hard. I know a couple of spells. I can use battle aura, and all is fine and dandy. Yeah, that's yeah, Lucas. That's pretty much, yeah. Pocket sand, traps, hostages. Like, North God style isn't actually a single developed style. It's a mishmash of sub-styles. Like, there is a style that allows you to fight with a hostage. There's a style that allows you to precisely throw swords or whatever. So it's like this very interesting tradition that was born in the lower levels of society. Hello, Terrace. Good to see you here. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate description of the styles. Um, good thing my sword is also a gun. That's good. I should write it down. All this lore makes me want for AMT style RPG or MMORPG. Oh, by the way, there's this thing called whatchamacallit? Mushoku Tensei. Memories something. Quest of Memories, yeah. Oh, it's yeah. Quest of Memories. Bum 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 bum. Yeah. Like, it's pretty hype. There's not much information on the game as of right now. But I hope it's an actual RPG. I mean, here it says that it's an RPG for PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC. So hopefully it's an actual RPG with a Lancars developer. Yeah, I mean, it since it's Bushiroad and Lancars, it might be just a card collections thing, which is it probably is, but let's hope for the best. I don't remember how much of Mushoku have you read, because there's something about the North God style I want to mention, but it's a bit of a spoiler, nothing major though. I've read pretty much all of the official English releases, except for the 2 volumes that were released. Like the last, it's like volumes 19 and 20, I guess. I mean, my financial situation isn't the best, so I couldn't really buy them and read them legally, and I don't really want to pirate it. So I'll just save them for later. I found funny how Rudius is essentially more powerful than all these swordsman gods, but he is constantly in disadvantageous situations. Pretty much, kinda. I just want to. Yeah, Lucas. I just. Is this an anime LN or VN stream? It's an anime and light novel stream. Today we focus on the 2nd volume. Yeah, about the thing that Rudius is essentially more powerful than all these swordsman gods. It's kind of true, but it's not. Because yeah, he needs to be put in a very advantageous position for him to actually do stuff. I mean, the dragon god, what's his face? Perug, not Perugus. Dude, help me out. I forgot the dude's name. He's like the most popular guy aside from Rudius, and I forgot his name. Anyway, the dragon god dude, he countered his magic with at first with the oh no, it wasn't his magic. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to think. So, yeah. So, Water God style if you are a high enough rank, if you know it well enough, you can repel spells. You can counteract spells. Orsted, thank you. You can counteract spells. And I think it was shown, if not in the anime, it was shown in the novel at some point. Yeah, because Rudeus didn't fight haven't fought strong representatives of the sword god style. And I think the reason for that is that they would actually overpower him. Yeah, I was just thinking about the North God Saint. Yeah. Sword God. Oh yes, Saint, not Emperor. Yeah, true. The North God style was just like two people claiming one title. Nothing wrong with that as long as you win. Yeah, true. It was a pretty fun little arc. It was a fun little fight and chase. It was pretty good. Guys, if you plan on spoiling stuff beyond Volume 3 or Season 1 anime, please state so beforehand. I'll be really thankful. Oh, yeah. So, Vox is an anime only at this point. So, no heavy spoilers. You can wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say stuff to me that I would understand because I'm pretty far in the novels. And I will reply to you in code or something. So that everyone's enjoyment isn't ruined. But anyway, let's talk about chapter 4 of the volume 2 because it's a pretty interesting chapter, but nothing happens. Unfortunately, nothing happens in this chapter. So you remember the point when Rudeus decides to actually give Eris some break time, like proper vacation time, proper rest at the end of each week. So this world actually doesn't have a concept of a week. It has a concept of a month, a year. Well, although it's a little different from how it works here in our world. And so to build a schedule for Eris, he meets up with Ghislaine and Edna, her dance and etiquette teacher, and they figure out the way to create a special schedule for Eris and also their own work schedule. Yeah. So they and actually they hold on. Yeah, here. They had a calendar in this world, so they had a concept of what month and what day was. They did not, however, have the concept of a week. There were rest days allotted throughout the year, but there were no such thing as a Sunday. So basically that's the thing that Rudeus does. So he invents weekends, invents all the other stuff. And they just decide on the fact that they will host these teaching staff meetings every first of the month. They go to Roa for sightseeing, blah 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 blah. So that's pretty good. Oh, it's nothing much, but I laughed out loud when I was reading that. Yeah, dude, really, like, remember, you are an author. You're writing about Like, what is a way for an earthling to express his emotion properly when he's beaten? To put sad face. She punched me. Sad face. Cursive. That's the subtlety. That's the brilliance that Mushoku Tensei brings to the table. And I shit you not, the first time I read that, I laughed out loud. Like, no joke. For some reason, this cursive sad face just blew me. I don't know. It's just funny. It's just funny seeing sad face written in cursive in your light novel. Just simple comedy, huh? Simple pleasures of life. Just seeing sad face. Without spoiling to you, Vox, but Rudius essentially becomes okay. Yeah. I'd say that's pretty accurate. I read up to volume 20 and I don't even get that. Yeah. That's. I mean. Yeah, sad face. Oh, by the way, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Yeah. So, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, they see the demon god. So here we get a lot of lore about. Also, we get a lot of lore about Armored Dragon King Perugius and all the other stuff. So there was this big five, or whatever they're called. Dragon God Urpen, North God Kalman, Twin Empress Migus and Gumis, and Perugius. They were these big badasses who fought in the battle against Laplace. They defeated him. Blah blah blah. And also Perugius has 12 familiars. We've only seen Arumanfi, I believe. Arumanfi the Brilliant. Arumanfi the Brilliant in the anime. The guy who descends from his castle to the earth. So he has 12 of those. Each representing a different phenomena or element, if you say. Yeah. So the floating fortress itself is called Chaos Breaker, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Not much information on that anymore. Okay. So chapter 5, The Young Mr. Sten. It's a pretty big, pretty hefty, pretty juicy chapter. So we get a little update on how's Eris doing at this point. She's learning well. She was moving up in the ranks of her sword god style technique pretty fast. So she almost reached advanced in sword god style, which is the level of Paul. Pretty good. Anyway, Rudius tried to teach her to chant spells without an incantation, but didn't work out. Might have something to do with how early you start teaching this stuff, how early the person gets attuned to the feeling of magic, and also the innate ability of the person. So yeah, this is the stuff that gets talked about in this in this little cluster of the chapter. Okay. We know. Oh my god. Okay, that's better. So yeah. Just gets to teach Eris how to dance. Boom boom boom. Here's an illustration. Pretty good. Pum pum pum. So yeah, Rudius, as I've said in the video already, there is no drama with her failing her dances. She just had some trouble adjusting first. And the stuff that Rudius teaches Eris about how, you know, you should move with the rhythm. There's I'll give you a clue to when you should step in and do your stuff, basically. It's all like, it was all done before the event. That's important to understand. So the structure of this chapter was really changed for the anime adaptation. There's the good and there's the bad, because I think that they do achieve similar results, but they approach it really differently. Like in the anime, you get to feel like the tension of the situation. Like you really understand that this is a very important moment for Eris, and she really doesn't want to fuck up. And you also see that Rudius is really understanding of her. He knows her really well, to the point that on the fly, she comes up with the idea that, oh, I should utilize this and that, this habit of Eris, and that she learned from Ghislaine, and this way we can thread this situation more carefully. But here, he teaches her previous to all of that, and the dances, it wasn't much. Hold on, I removed the markings that I had. Yeah, so there's the first dance somewhere here. Yeah. So yeah, there's no drama at all. Like we planned from the beginning, I took my role as Eris' first dance partner. It was the simplest, most childish dance, but because Eris was the star, we took to the center of the room. We just needed to do as we practiced, and they did actually. He just reminded her a few times that what she needed to do, and they just did it, as easy as that. Then, second dance, it was actually more rhythmically complex, and Eris was enjoying it. So there's this development arc going on between these two performances, and although the tension and the awkwardness of the portrayal of this episode in the anime was pretty good, you could really feel like, oh my god, I really want Eris to succeed. I really want to Eris to do good. I want Rudius to save the day eventually. There's no such tension, but there's this arc that happens, which is pretty significant. Eris goes through this sort of initiation process, and as a result It was this or next chapter. Hold on. Yeah, and as a result, she accepts Rudius as one of her role models. So that's pretty important. But I must say that I really love how anime handled all of this stuff, because it's more interesting this way. It was I was at the edge of my seat when I was watching that. Here, not much is going on, but it but reading through this and watching the anime, I really appreciate how hard the novel tries to dive into every single little detail about Eris's character. This is really good. So let me catch up with the chat. Hold on. So you can imagine how powerful he, Perugius, must be to have 12 Emperor-class servants. Yeah, true. Quick question, Thrill. Do you think Rudius is more intelligent or clever? Potato, potato. I actually couldn't answer that. Rudius isn't that intelligent, I would say. His intelligence, if we're talking about intelligence in terms of memory and the ability to pull up information from that memory, I wouldn't say he's that intelligent, but he's very crafty. He can figure out stuff on the fly in the heat of the situation, and I think that's probably the thing that defines him the most. He doesn't know a lot of stuff, but the stuff he does know, he can utilize in multiple different applications. Like for example, stone cannon. His favorite spell. It can be a small speck of dust that he uses to just, blind someone, knock people out. He can use it. He can elevate the spell to the divine level. Well, maybe not divine, but at least emperor level of power, and do all kinds of stuff with both his abilities and the knowledge that he has. I was kind of surprised that Wizard was so knowledgeable about dancing, and suddenly he depressed him. Oh no, he wasn't knowledgeable. He just studied it with Edna, like as he was trying to. He was learning with Eris. It's just that he was learning quicker than Eris, because Eris's internal rhythm was all messed up. I can't. It's just my eyesight is pretty bad. It's also more impressive that Eris learned to dance properly before, instead of having to get saved by Rudy. Imam. Yeah, true. I'd say that intelligent more so than clever, so he can also be completely oblivious at times, and he can. Yeah. But well. Well, yeah. Lucas, I agree with you. He makes good use of all his abilities, but that came to be after lots of practice rather than doing it instinctively. Yeah, when you think about that, he really does do a lot of stuff. Um, like for example, of course, in the anime, it seems like he can do almost anything, pretty much. Like for example, in his battle, uh, his little scuffle with Paul in the fourth episode, he's pretty crafty. He's doing all this stuff. He's pulling all the stops, quagmire, water stuff, fireballs. Everything is going smoothly. He just does it on a whim. But actually, when you read the light novel, he goes through countless simulations in his head about how he would fight Paul if he were to fight Paul. That's the thing that he is most concerned about for a good while of the first volume of the series. He's trying to figure out to best Paul. So yeah, I saw your comment, Lucas, and so yeah, when you think about it, he really didn't do stuff on a whim. He has a lot of experience with stuff due to him being on the demon continent for like how many years? 1, 2, 3. I don't remember. For like 2 or 3 years, he was on the demon continent. He became an S. He became an S class adventurer. So yeah, of course, he has a lot of experience, and this is why he can do all this stuff. But speaking about Rudius, you know, in the anime, all these little cute girls who approached him after the dance with Eris. Well, here's the thing: we actually get this scene a little expanded in the light novels. So a lot of girls started to come up to Rudius and trying to make small talks, trying to, get his attention, to dance with him. And, well, he did dance with a lot of people this night. He's like, they came one after another, among them a woman over 30 and a girl younger than I was. I turned them down if our height difference presented a problem, but in general, I said yes to anyone who asked. Yes, they weren't after his PP, they were after his money. And not even his money, they were about Soros's money. That was like, once my popularity waned enough, Philip approached me and explained that was my father's doing. Apparently, when people asked Soros who the boy was who danced with Eris at the beginning, he boastfully told them that I was a member of the Greyrat family. In other words, everything was old man Soros doing. That's a pretty fun interaction, fun little detail. Yeah. And so they didn't give his surname notas to anyone, so they figured that he must be Soros's illegitimate child. So the power of money and connections. Am I right? Oh, and and this little thing. You remember this little tower where Rudius goes to talk with Soros? I just noted this because it was funny. The tower external height matched the number of steps winding inside it. Around and around and around I went and ascended more of them than I could count. That was when I heard a voice from above. Meow meow. So yeah, at the top I found Soros. He was inside a room so small barely a single person could fit, getting busy with one of the cat-eared maids. Um, Soros noticed I was there after I had gotten a good look at them. The maid had noticed me before him. It even seemed to excite her. Once the deed was the cat-eared girl brushed past me on her way down the stairs. Yeah, apparently this house is full of furry-loving normal people, uh, gray rats, and beast woman maids who are exhibitionists. So that's a pretty fun dynamic and an environment to grow up in. Cool. And then we get to learn about the sphere that was up in the sky. So, chapter 6, the absolute lore lore treasury. So here Rudius goes on a reading rampage and gets to know everything there is to know about this world, like frisky cat girl. Yeah. So yeah, Rudius gets an overview of this world history, and through him we also get to know all this stuff. This, more than 10,000 years ago, this is like this world's not creation myth, but something that comes pretty close after the creation myth. On a side note, do you plan discussing Philip's bizarre coup d'etat plot later, or it's too crazy and random to analyze? Which is to say, shame, because that was really intriguing for a moment. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a little bit. Although I still don't understand for the life of me how's that supposed to work. Okay, so let's call it almost the creation myth of this world. More than 100,000 years ago. Massive lore dump easily could have been half an episode. True. Just Rudius reading through books. The world was split into 7 smaller worlds, which each with its own god to rule over it. This was called the ancient age of the gods, so creation myth. These 7 worlds and their respective gods were the world of humans, human god, the world of demons, demon god, the world of dragons, dragon god, the world of beasts, beast god, the ocean world, sea god, the sky world, sky god, the barren world, barren god. These worlds were separated by barriers, so coming and going was no easy task. Someone who lived in one world had no idea there were other ones. Only the gods and those strong enough to cross those barriers knew of the other worlds. So pretty much we get to know the structure of the 6-sided world in this chapter. It's 6-sided because we get to know about why 6-sided a little bit later. I'll just read some of this stuff to you because it's pretty interesting and pretty important, and it's not that long. 20,000 to 10,000 years ago, in the dragon world, an what the hell is this word? What the fuck? Of a person or their behavior not able to be changed or reformed. Okay. A very, very evil dragon god was born. With his incredible and dreadful power, he destroyed the barriers separating the worlds. With his followers, known as the 5 dragon commanders, he began destroying the other worlds. Survivors from each destroyed world fled to other worlds seeking shelter. When there was only one other world left, The dragon god's commanders finally turned on him. The head of the 5 dragon commanders, the Dragon Emperor, and the other 4 Dragon Kings fought the Dragon God and his overwhelming power, 5 versus 1 in a battle to the death. It ended in a draw. The Dragon world crumbled in the aftermath, leaving only the human world. That was this world. So basically, there's a single world left, and although it's still a part of the 6-sided world, there's not much to, there's not many sides. 10,000 to 8,000 years ago, known as the Chaotic Period, a period where the ancestors of modern humans and the refugees from other worlds, after being thrown together, began clashing. There exists almost no literature from this period, but according to scholars, after many years of strife, the races slowly became segregated. The beast folk began living in the woods, the water folk controlled the oceans, and the sky folk secured the highest places they could find. There were nearly no dragon folk left, which is pretty important, but they avoided attention and lived secretly, while the void folk, who could live anywhere, spread themselves out. That left the humans and the demons to fight between themselves on the plains. At the time, the central continent and the demon continent were still joined by land and called the Great Continent. It's the... what? No. Okay. Let's say Bestagon then. I don't get the reference. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's stay with me. This is pretty important and pretty interesting. So, approximately 7 years ago, martial arts and magic were developed, and the population increased. This was also when the first great human-demon war occurred. As the name implies, it was a head-on collision between the humans and the demons, something like a world war in the world of my previous life. It was a long battle that involved not only the humans and demons, but other races as well. Okay, from this point onward, it kind of speeds up a little bit. Yeah, Ancient Dragon's Tale, yeah. I haven't checked it out yet, but this is actually a good thing to read if you want to know about this stuff. I haven't yet, but yeah, thank you for reminding me. So, approximately 6,000 years ago, 1,000 years passed since the Great War raged on with fierce battles and lulls interspersed between. The hero Aros led his 6 comrades into battle, continuing the hostilities until he defeated the 5 great demon kings and the great emperor of the demon world, Kishirisu. So she was in the first world. Based on the great emperor's name, I guess they were probably a woman. In my head, I pictured Eris in a leather outfit, cackling loudly. Wait a second. And there's also the reference to the Dragon Quest 7. Approximately 5.5 years ago. Being the fools they were, the humans got drunk of power from defeating the humans and began warring against the other races as well as among themselves. Demons were reportedly used as slaves during that time. This period of constant war continued for almost 500 years. Then the second human-demon war broke out. Demons were seeking vengeance, with Kishirisu as one of their top commanders. Yeah, I thought that Kishirika was some sort of name each emperor received as they took the throne, but apparently the emperor was immortal. Even if they died, they would revive hundreds of years later. Perhaps the reason they were called the Great Emperor of the Demon World was because they were a rank above of other dragon emperors. Either way, the demons made allies of the beast folk and sea folk, overwhelming their humans. The humans were driven into a corner. So then the second human-demon war came to an end, and the new rules of the world were actually established. The warmongering humans fought for 800 years without meeting defeat and finally forced their enemy back. This was thanks to the effort of the legendary hero Golden Knight, Aldebaran. Funny name. I'm sorry. This guy was a total cheater. He routed over 10,000 men by himself. He defeated all the previous demons he encountered and fought one-on-one with the Great Demon Emperor. His final attack was so powerful it created a hole in the central continent, splitting it into the central continent and the demon continent, with the Ringus Sea in between. So this is how the separation came to be, because, as I said before, they were united before. One passage wrote that he was the human god himself. This is the first we hear from the human god. No Hitagami here yet. The only Aldebaran I knew was the one who would die if he used his own little technique. And so the peace. I mean, from this point onward, not much was happening. The central continent began to grow, began to develop. Humans were like pretty good at developing. So yeah. Oh yeah, and then demons were like they were pushed back into their demon continent. There were constant squabbles between tribes of demons. Every new demon king, demon emperor, they were trying to establish their own rule. But 1,000 years ago, demon god Laplace came into being. And this when shit hit the fan. He united all of the demon kings and demon emperors and started training his people basically to eventually fight with humans. After many long years spent winning over the sea folk and beast folk, Laplace finally made his assault on the central continent. No one really liked humans. They were like, no one. So we were the punching bag for everyone else. The humans were forced into a war far more brutal than they had fought before. Laplace launched his invasion from the south, drawing all the humans' military power there. Then he set his worms upon the land, making passage through the mountains impossible. After that, he took the humans by storm, attacking with a separate unit from the north, scattering his enemies. In a short time, he had gained total control of the north and the south. Then, from both directions, he pressed his assault of the western region. It was pretty bad for humans. Like, it was pretty bad at this point. And so, this is the point when actually you see, we never see Skyfolk and Seafolk in the anime, at least so far. They're even in the anime, they are just mentioned. I believe that one of the spirits of Perugius is a Skyfolk. Well, I mean, spirit of the Skyfolk, at least. But we don't really see much of them. But apparently they were pretty active in the past. So people convinced Seafolk to actually block, not to block the Milis continent, which was also under human control. And so from this point onward, humans began to fight back properly. And they fought over. They convinced. They fought with beast folk. They won against them. Convinced them to, actually fight the demons instead. It's all kinds of stuff. Anyway, there were 7 heroes who were sent to actually defeat Laplace. Who were they? I don't think they were listed anywhere. Anyway, after a violent confrontation, 4 of the 7 heroes were dead, but they successfully sealed Laplace away and destroyed his closest companions. 3 heroes survived: the Dragon King Urupen, the Northern God Kalman, and the Armored Dragon King Perugius. By the way, if you haven't figured it out at this point, Perugius is a dragon. Just, if you haven't figured it out yet, just in case. They're referred to as the 3 legendary demon godslayers, but they didn't slay anything, they just sealed him. Though Laplace was defeated, the humans were greatly exhausted from the battle and couldn't keep up the fight anymore. Instead, they signed a treaty with one of the demon kings back on the demon continent, one that wasn't allied with Laplace and led a more moderate factions of the demons. I don't remember. And Lucas, if you can tell me, if you know, one of the demon kings back on the demon continent, one that wasn't allied with Laplace and led a more moderate faction of the demons, is this the demon god, demon king that I'm thinking about, the one who we see at the academy in the trailer for the 2nd season? If not, then I guess my guess is irrelevant, but just saying. The blockade on the demon continent was lifted. The demons could now freely travel to the other continents. According to the terms of the treaty, racial discrimination against demons was prohibited, but oh well. Even if racism is prohibited, no one will, enforce your speech. No one will come to your house just because you're racist. So, shucks, gang. Doesn't work. It was like the United Declaration of Human Rights in my previous world. Well, which also doesn't really work because everyone can treat everyone with the most shit they can, despite all kinds of regulations. Okay. Oh. And so yeah, the summary from Brutus. Cutting things off at the number 7 was done for historical reasons. There were 7 legendary heroes and 7 worlds. Thus, the lucky number was 7. 6 was unlucky, since there were the 5 dragon generals and 5 great demon kings, each of which made 6 when counted with their respective leaders. I'm late. Weep Sparrow, hello. We are discussing the 2nd volume of Mushoku Tensei. Once we wrap up that, we'll briefly discuss the Winter 2023 anime season and what's coming up. What are you guys interested in, and so forth. Anyway, the various races like the elves, dwarves, and halflings were like subspecies, but they were counted among the demons. It was possible that there were new races that had developed during the chaotic period, or perhaps they had something to do with the Baron folk that first came over. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know what? If you want, you can read all of this stuff. It's like this chapter is one massive exposition dump. Also, we get a letter from Roxy, blah blah blah, pretty good. We get the position of Ghislaine. We get to see the world from her eyes for a little bit. Yeah, we just confirm some of the stuff that we already knew as an audience. That, yeah. Oh, pretty good stuff. Anyway, Absolute Promise. This is the chapter that everyone hates, or everyone hates and loves at the same time. This is the episode 8. the second half of episode 8. No, it's the whole episode 8 of the anime. So Rudius turns 10. He gets his little celebration. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Rudius sexually harasses Ghislaine, but she just overcomes it with sheer muscle. Lord of muscles, god of sex, how grateful I am for your existence, however much the polar opposite of me you are. yeah, please bless unto me muscles such as these. So yeah, this is the reforming power of Ghislaine's gluttonous maximus, I guess it was I forget constantly how the buttocks is called in proper Latin. Anyway, Rudius puts up an act, says that, well, you know the drill. Eris puts up an act that he's this touched kid who misses his parents and is really grateful for the party, and he is grateful. He does miss his parents and family, but the thing is that he overplays it a little bit, and his acting is actually so good that everyone is touched to the heart, to the bottom of their heart. So let's talk about the big stuff that happens about the Philip's coup d'etat that he was trying to pull with Rudius's help. Did my camera froze? Did you hold on? I'm just catching up with the chat. Did you imagine world like map above as of time of reading novel for the first time? No, not at all. But yeah, I guess the there is a map of the continent in volume 3, I guess, or sometimes later. I don't remember. But yeah, it really puts into perspective what a journey they had to make from the demon content. I agree. Anyway, coup d'etat, our favorite topic here on the Dynamic channel. Let's let's find the stuff. Okay, so we get the information about I never thought I would say this, but after realizing it was kind of a blessing that Rudius got teleported, because if he wasn't, oh boy, he will go down. Yeah, that's true. He wouldn't be as skilled. He wouldn't be as prepared for later stuff in life. All the things that we're about to see in the second season of anime might have not happened, just straight up. So, yeah. These turning points really do be turning in the right direction. Okay. So let's discover all there is to know about Philip's coup d'etat. I don't remember much, so let's read this through. So, Eris does have a younger and an older brother. But the head of the family, the head of the Boreas family, took both of them from Philip. So there's this thing. This is a tradition between the sons of the head of the family. Soros had 10 sons. Among them, only 3 were exceptional: Philip, Gordon, and finally James. It sounded like the names of a certain locomotive. Okay. To decide who would be the head of the family among these 3, they were made to compete. The result was that James would become the next head of the family. Philip and Gordon had lost. During the first half of the power struggle, James first secretly pulled Gordon and the daughter of the Eris Greyrat family together. He maneuvered things so neither one would know the other's background, then fanned the flames of their love. Gordon became too focused on that romance, and just as James had planned, married into the Eris branch of the family. That effectively cut off his path to becoming head of the Boreas family. So that's Gordon taken care of, all right? In the latter half of the power struggle, Philip and James were evenly matched. They continued to fight by manipulating people from behind the scenes, but it wasn't like some dramatic development occurred. The battle simply ended with Philip's defeat. It was a matter of influence. James was 6 years older than Philip, widely known throughout the capital, and had served as a minister's AD. He had connections, money, and more than anything, political power. Philip wasn't as good, and so, yeah, he lost. While Philip was breaking his back trying to do what he could, James stayed in the capital and built himself a rock-solid position as minister. That made the gap between them impossible to bridge. Then, when Philip's son was born, James claimed him as adopted son. That's the tradition in the Boreas family. So that's something to keep in mind. In the Boreas Greyrat line, all sons born into the family were raised under the care of the head of the household. This prevented those who had lost in previous power struggles from participating in future ones. It ensured they would not involve themselves to boost their own son's influence in the next struggle for power. So essentially, Philip decided that, well, he himself would not participate in the next power struggle, but he will make Rudius, like the actual puppet of the coup d'etat. Basically, that's the thing that was going on in Philip's head. Okay. So that's basically the thing that he was trying to do. It will be definitely difficult if you use, to try to use Eris to overthrow James, because Eris couldn't get enough. Eris was not the person to actually put all this weight, all this responsibility on. As you might remember, she had a bad temper. She was thrown out of pretty much every school she attended, and her social ranking wasn't that high. But lately, after seeing you, I've started to feel a little bit of hope. Your acting is good enough to deceive even Hilda and my father. So, yeah, Philip noticed. You understand the importance of money, and you know how to be diplomatic. And you don't balk at the necessity of putting yourself in harm's way to win over people's hearts. But most of all, Eris has grown tremendously under your supervision. Okay. I asked Philip to explain who said Paul came crying. This isn't important. Here, Philip basically berates his own daughter. Even I thought Eris was hopeless. I thought she had no future as a member of a noble family. That was why I hired Ghislaine to teach her swordplay, so that she might at least become an adventurer. After he said that, Philip recounted several of his past episodes with Eris, every single one painful to listen to. So how about it? Will you marry Eris and help me seize control of the Boreas family? If so, I'll tie her hands and put her in your bed right now. the thing. So Philip wasn't trying to actually compete with James. He was going to put Rudius as the head of like his own little family and make him compete. Because well, he doesn't have his own sons. He might as well use someone else's. That's the logic that I can understand. So let me read the chat for now. Oh boy, do I want coup d'etat in a certain place? Yeah, Animus Vox. You may be the voice of animals, but I would say that you are Vox Populi, the voice of the people of a certain place. Taking hostages inside a family, brutal. Yeah, I mean, that's tradition. You don't understand. Kind of off topic, but was surprised that the same voice actress for first season Rudius will keep playing the character in the second season. I mean, if her range is enough, why not? It's not like she has a single voice. She's a voice actress. I mean, I assume she can pull it off if she's hired for the job. Also, the gap isn't as long between the Eris leaving his balls and the Pressed Magician arc. Like it's like what, a couple months. It is brutal, but it also avoids a lot of potential power struggles within the family. Yeah, true. So that's the thing that Philip was trying to pull. He was trying to pull the rug underneath the James and make Rudius like the poster child of the gap is literally 2 months. Yeah, he wanted to make Rudius the poster child of his little family and make him compete in his stead. So he already missed the previous train. He already lost James, but he wanted to take at least some kind of revenge against him with Rudius's help. Yeah, but Rudius doesn't succumb to the temptation, and we get yeah. So, I mean, we all at least saw Mushoku Tensei anime. I will not give you a content warning, but because there's nothing to warn you about. But I mean, this stuff might be pretty off-putting on the first read, on the first watch. So yeah, Eris was actually prepared for Rudius as a honey trap by presumably Hilda. I'm not sure if it's in this volume or in some other volumes, but it's apparent that Hilda was the one who convinced Eris to, actually go to Rudius and present herself. Because she also wanted Philip's coup d'etat to happen and to get her children back. That's the thing that that's why she was so upfront about Rudius marrying Eris. Like during the party, she was like, "Eris, you should marry this young gentleman. No, it doesn't matter that he's only 10. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing can stand on the way of the true love." She also saw this opportunity that Rudius is actually quite good. He might pull it off. And then a year-long time skip at the end of the arc. Yeah. Before the academy arc, I assume. You're speaking about that, I guess. Ah. Oh yeah, totally. I mean, you said that, and I was also surprised because Rudius is pretty. Uh, he's grown up a lot. In the span of this during this arc, he's a pretty mature boy at this point. Anyway, we get to the pervy stuff, and she shoves him away. I stared blankly at the ceiling. The feverish heat that had taken over had dissipated completely. He berates himself for like 2 pages. Nothing's going on. But like he's glued on. He's glued into the situation. He understands what's going on. It's just that he didn't understand himself and what he was feeling about the situation. He didn't want to do anything, and you might say he was confused, but it's just his way of thinking about the opposite sex was just too polluted with all sorts of erotic games. And he understands that. I was being completely short-sighted compared to them, especially the protagonists of these games. Especially after I had that conversation with Philip. What was I thinking? Saying I would pretend he only said all that because he was drunk? Things I said and the things I did were in complete contradiction. I knew that what would happen if I had sex with Eris. We would sleep together, she would get pregnant, we would get married. A grand series of events that would make me an official member of the Boreas household. Or, after all that, would I come to hate the ugly power struggle that followed so much that I would run away? Would I plan not to take responsibility for my actions? Was I just going to pass it off as a one-night stand? Foolish. I would no doubt end up going after Eris every night. My sex drive was quite strong in my previous life, and I had a feeling, without even looking at Paul as an example, that it might be the same for my current body. There was no way I would be satisfied by a one-night thing. She may have come to me today, but next time I would be the one going to her. Philip and Hilda surely hoped for that. No one would stop me. I would take the bait of temporary gratification and fall into the filthy trap that was the Boreas household inner power struggle. So that's basically the entire situation. Luckily for Rudius, Eris was quite understanding about Paul. She forgave him because she knew he was a pervert, and that's something that, she liked him. She really liked him at this point. She had feelings for him. So that's why she was not totally against the idea that her mother proposed to her to go to Rudius's bedroom, and because her mother told her to present herself to Rudius. I really don't remember if it's in this volume or later. She told her to present herself to him, and Eris agreed to do that because she had feelings for him. Yeah, being the only non-silent spellcaster really does a lot. It's like, I mean, he's a saint level water mage at the age of like 7. And he's advanced at every other school of magic except for healing, except for barrier magic. I mean, he's intermediate in healing as well. He does nothing. He knows nothing about barriers. He's intermediate in healing, advanced in 3 types of elemental magic, like wind, earth, and fire, and saint level in water. So he's a and silent spell casting on everything except for healing. That's a I mean, he's a powerhouse. He's a real powerhouse. And if you've read up to, what was it, Turning Point 4 or 5? I don't remember. But if you know, you know. Rudeus is a real powerhouse. He has so much potential that even Rudeus doesn't understand how much, actually. I mean, looking at looking at Eris development tracker, there is one more line added after this chapter. Person she loves, Rudeus. So this pretty much confirms her feelings for him. There's no will they, won't they at this point. It's pretty set in stone. Oh. Anyway, turning point. Roxy became the Water King. And here we get the all the four names of the great regional liege lords: Notus, Euros, Zephyroth, and Boreas. So write it down. Magic is all powerful. Yeah, that's the exact line. And he is a literal glass cannon. Even when there's a little bit more glass on that cannon, if you know what I mean. Man, you just... When I saw the trailer for the second season, it got me so hyped up because it's got, from the looks of it, it's going to be adapted up to the volume 12 in the second season, and man, I cannot wait for it. It's going to be so much hype, so much pain, and just so much wacky shenanigans. It's just... love it. Can't wait for it. Anyway, we get introduced to Orsted. We get introduced to Perugius, to Armanfi. Oh, even the Sword Sanctum. So, Sword Sanctum is the place to where Eris is headed after the end of season 1. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry. So anyway, the Sword Sanctum. Eris is headed to this place after the end of season 1. The sword god Galfalion gazed up at the southern sky. Galfalion is the sword god, so he also noticed these kind of shenanigans. And we get his perspective a little bit. He's always relaxed, by the way. He's the chillest dude in the entire universe. I tell you, this is the guy who's just max chilling, just doing nothing pretty much all day, Well, he does do stuff, but he's such a laid-back character. I adore him. It's every time there's interaction between Galfalian and or Eris and Ghislaine. It's just such an interesting dynamic between them. Yeah. So yeah, there's Kishirika and Rudeus. So here we get some numbers. So as you might remember, you should remember, in this volume he gets his stuff, Aqua Heartia, the stuff with the weird name. So basically, Rudeus discovers how much does this stuff amplify his mana. There are some calculations. So without the staff, mana cost for a spell is 10, power is 5. With staff, mana cost, for the same mana cost, you basically get 5 times the power. Or you can use your mana just more efficiently and cast the spell of the same power with less mana. And this is actually pretty OP. It doesn't work. It works specifically for water magic though, because every crystal, every staff, they have their own alignments. They have their own specialty. I mean, so some are more attuned to water, some are more attuned to fire, etc., etc. So it's easier for some to use fire with them, and then the fire output will be maximized. But if you use other spells of other schools, they will also be enchanted, but not as not enchanted. They will also be amplified, but not as much as the spells of the chosen school. So that's kind of the thing. Here we have a conversation with Armanfi the Bright. The Bright, or yeah, the Bright. So yeah, this, not much really going on. It's just Fito region vanished. So nothing to see here. Just a nuclear bomb going off over the city of Roa. Oh, hold on. Oh yeah. As far as the names in anime go, Aqua Heartia is a pretty normal dragon. Yeah, Aqua Heartia, the whatchamacallit, what was the full name? The arrogant water dragon. That's like straight from some Korean shit. Chill, dude. He was disappointed the Mana Calamity wasn't Laplace Resurrection since he wanted to fight it. Yeah, and that's exactly, he's chilling. He's like, oh yeah, I want to fight that dude. If he finds someone powerful, he will fight them. He will be like, his blood will boil. But all the other time, he's just chilling. He's just there. He's just there to enjoy life, to scold his students. And I don't know. I just get this feeling from him. He just doesn't give a fuck. Yes, he's bored mostly. He's just, I don't care. This doesn't deserve my attention. If it was Laplace, then we would talk about it. If it's not him, don't even bother me. The wonders of being a VN reader. You exactly. Yeah. The light novel wasn't released fully yet, so you are the special one. Although I was spoiled a little bit on the, aftermath of everything. Like I was spoiled on how many children, how many children, what children did what with adult children, uh, who was who did that, who did what. Um, yeah, I was spoiled on all of that, and now I feel pretty sad. um, yeah. That's true. Look, yeah, I totally agree with you, Lucas. That's absolutely right. He's just so above everyone else. Oh my god, epilogue. Oh, dude. Well, this is Roxy. Roxy looking at the board. He finds the note from Paul, and then she goes on adventure. So, extra chapter. Well, you mean the special side story that was essentially banned? Yeah, yeah. I think it's that. Yeah. So I if it's banned, I hope it stays banned. I don't want any of that in my wholesome Changos light novel. Anyway, here's the juicy extra chapter, the Forest Goddess. Um, this was actually one of the highlights for me from this volume, like because in the anime you have no idea what Ghislaine's been doing all this time during the man disaster. So this chapter actually explores what she was doing. So she was sent to the conflict zone on the central continent. It was directly east of Asura Kingdom. So what is conflict zone? The actual one, yeah, we don't talk about that. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that one either. Anyway, so Ghislaine was sent to the conflict zone of the central continent. What's this conflict zone? Conflict zone is a zone where a lot of stuff going on, a lot of conflict, you might say. So there are a few small bordering countries, like small bordering country city-states, you would say, where mercenaries, mostly mercenaries, fight because the states, these countries, it's themselves, they don't have enough power, enough enough manpower to fight by themselves. So there are a lot of conflict constantly happening. And so this is where Ghislaine gets sent to. So yeah. And the funny thing happens. So Ghislaine becomes active in the forest of the conflict zone, and gets on the side of one of the factions, and gets on the side of one of the factions, saves a bunch of people, and helps them win this little war that was going on. And eventually, she became a being known as, hold on, the Forest Goddess Lane. She became this basically divine deity that the mercenaries and other people were singing praises and legends of to each other. So yeah, there was quite a ruckus in the conflict zone. it's a pretty hefty extra chapter. There's a bunch of stuff going on. So she basically wins the war for the Marquian mercenary country, and becomes their little deity. They even begin to wear little amulets. Let me find that. Yeah, the forest goddess Lane was the god of the Markian mercenaries. According to legend, she was the goddess of salvation who appeared 100 years ago when the Markian mercenary country was on the verge of collapse. Her guidance was of one of the country's legendary commander-in-chief rescued the country from disaster. Thanks to that legend, many of Markian's mercenaries believed that when they were on the verge of death, the forest goddess would appear out of nowhere and save them. That was the thing that happened. Ghislaine saved one of the commanders. That was why they prayed to her. However, strangely enough, there was only one country in the entire world that believed in the forest goddess Lane, and that was the Markian mercenary country. Why was that only this particular country that was such a custom? The answer was one interesting story indeed. And so there's the retelling of the story, how this stuff happened. Let's not go into too much detail, because I just basically told you the gist of it. If you want to read through it, you should buy the novel and read it. I will not narrate it to you in its completion. So support the author, support the publisher. They will finish the novel anyway, but the more support we show them, the better it gets. Here's some concept art though, for your viewing pleasure. Anyway, oh, dude, I'm so tired of speaking. You couldn't believe it. Honestly, not even a bad chapter, just really uncomfortable. We're talking about that Aisha one still, huh? Yeah. Can't wait for the next Elan volume. Want to see your reaction to the funny twist. Let's go to the the problem is there is a problem. The latest volume I have is volume 18. And so that's the thing that I last bought. I cannot buy other ones. I mean, the only way for me to legally buy volumes on Kindle is to buy a gift card with a huge markup. And then use that to replenish my my wallet on Amazon. Then I can buy stuff. The thing is, I just can't. It's not in my budget anymore. Sadly, I cannot spend money on books for the time being. It's kind of tight lately with all of the stuff going on. But I was able to buy one volume of Orc Eroica. Did you know about it? Orc Eroica. It's the newest thing that Fujina Maganote, the author of Mushoku Tensei, is working on. So this is his new novel that he's writing. It's I haven't finished the first volume yet, but so far it's very different from Mushoku Tensei, but it's pretty interesting so far. The way Ghislaine one-shots a water saint in this chapter really drives home how the big power gaps between individuals can be. Yeah, I mean, Sword saying, water saints. Uh, oh, I forgot up to which level of sword god style they really went up to. Um, I mean, nothing. Only the water god can beat the sword of light. That's a given. Um, so knowing that Ghislaine is a sword king, water side really does nothing to her. Kind of cool to know the country lasted at least 100 years in that region. Yeah. Talking about the conflict zone. Imon, nothing wrong with reading something in certain black places if you plan on buying later. I mean, you see, it's not how my brain works. I mean, if I, it's just so convenient with Kindle. You see, it's just it's stuff. It's just that it's really convenient to read it on Kindle. I mean, I don't mind reading on Web Novel Pub on Eddie or I don't know, Wuxia World some web novels. But if the book is released, I want to read the book with all the bells and whistles. To actually pay. I've been this kind of guy my whole life. So, and also I don't want to catch viruses on my phone. That's kind of the main takeaway. Oh, I gotta check this one out. I see. So then I will be a while until you see the funny twist. Yeah. Well, now that we're in the same Discord server, I can see your reactions to it anytime. Yeah, true. If you haven't joined the Discord server yet, be sure to do so. It's pretty fun out there. Let me get you a link. Bam. That's the Discord link. We discuss stuff, a lot of stuff. Mostly light novels, comics, and other stuff. Share recommendations. Not much going on other than that, but I think it's still pretty cool. So yeah. By the way, guys, if you haven't checked Orc Eroica yet, it's the, how should I say it? Let me just show you the. Let me show you. Oh, not this. Let me show you the art for the. Yeah. So, this is basically so when I think you can gather pretty much all of it from just looking at this cover and the title Orc Eroica. But it's a pretty fun novel. It's mostly comedic. If Mushoku Tensei is more laid back but can also be serious, I haven't seen this from Orc Eroica yet. It's mostly comedy wrapped around a pretty serious, stone-faced orc main guy, because the main guy is an orc who wants to find a wife. So he's a pretty esteemed warrior of the orc race, but he's still a virgin, and so he goes on an adventure to find himself a wife. So yeah, I don't know if you can see any similarities. Like, for example, the fact that Bash, our protagonist, is pretty similar to Guts. I mean, he's basically Guts, but an orc. Like there's even some event descriptions like him slaying an enormous amount of monsters and humans and whatever. He's like 1,000 man army on or whatever the description was. This is basically orc parody of Guts, who wants to get laid. And it's hilarious. Let me move to the part I was on before, so that I would not forget where I left off. I'm planning on making a video about Orca Rorica on the channel next month, so you can look forward to that if you're interested. But for now, let's leave Mushoku Tensei for a bit. We've finished. Yeah, and he has a pixie. Yeah. Just like Puck. I mean, okay. Let's move on from Mushoku Tensei and Refugee Namaga Sensei and look at the ongoing Anime Winter 2023 season. There's a bunch of stuff that's going on. Let's not get through all of that, but I want to have your guys' input on what are the series that you are interested in this season. Because I've been stun locked. I'll be serious with you. I've been stun locked by light novels, manhwa. Oh, and the yeah, sure. Let me just actually loop this so that it doesn't go out. Anyway, let's talk about this anime season. What are you guys watching? Because I've been stun locked, as I said before, by light novels and manhwa. It's been a disaster. So I haven't really watched a lot of anime lately. Last season, Chainsaw Man, some other stuff, whatever. But to say, I mean, all the sequels. By the way, then I got caught up with Suicide Hunter. Well, that's good to hear. It's the S-word hunter that game ends himself is indeed a very good and profound read that will bring you to tears, and also give you lots of laughs. So check it out if you're willing to read through about 240 chapters of it. Although I think I have about 10 chapters to catch up to where the novel has stopped. So in that sense, Lada, you've actually been faster than me. Lucas, I've only watched Vinland Saga so far, which has been cool. So yeah, I mean, Vinland Saga is just in a league of its own. Nier has been suspended, was it not? Lada, this is why you need to master the ancient art of blue balling yourself. Because this is how I read novels now, especially if they are ongoing. I will dedicate a time in a day when I will read the novel or manga or whatever, and then after that I won't read anymore, so that I can kind of prolong the excitement, the journey that I go on with these types of things. Of course, if I'm not reading it for a video or something like that. I've just read Suicide Hunter as well. It's a nice take on the tower genre. I got kind of bored of this Song Jin-woo clones, which became exactly like yes. Oh yeah. The Fire Hunter. I've seen people mention that. I should probably look into it. Maybe it's good. I don't know. But yeah, Sung Jin-woo is easily the Kirito of the Korean world. I mean, this is also a topic for a video that is coming up. I just hate necromancer characters at this point. Every single thing that I'm trying to read now, every other thing that I'm trying to read from the Korean side of the world, it has to be some dude with a necromancy who does all this cool necromancer edgy stuff. I mean, it was fine the first 2 times around, but when like the adventure was going on pretty smoothly, you're like 100 chapters in, and then the guy just goes, "Oh, now I just got the title by the system granted me the title, the King of Death," and I go like, "Fuck, dude, another one, another King of Death. Seriously, guys, how many kings, how many gods of death do we really need in our lives? How many more necromancers should we get in our in our media? I mean, it's not even fun at this point. It's a predictable trope that every other author uses, and no one really elevates it to any point higher than it was done in Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling is a pure power fantasy with few redeeming qualities. It's quality, it's hype, and the the MC isn't as obnoxious as some other ones. But the ending sucks, and retroactively, the fact that it was the progenitor of all these other necromancer type stories, it just got ruined for me. I mean, I've had this discussion with Lada in Discord the other day, and every time Solo Leveling or Sang Jin-woo gets brought up, I just need to get it out of my system. Yeah, they have the same edgy, lonely, sometimes just violent, sicko personality as well. I mean, but at this point, for me, at least to me, it's fine if their personality is total copy of Sang Jin-woo. It's alright if they are overpowered. It's cool. As long as they're not necromancers. As long as they don't get the necromancy skills. I can put up with that. I can put up with any type of bullshit as long as there's not a single speck of necromancy involved. Because after that, it's just going downhill really fast. Oh, there's necromancy now. Bye-bye. Not interested. Because it's just so repetitive at this point. Anyway, I've been ranting for long enough. let's see what's this anime season all about. The Misfit of Demon King Academy, second season. I will actually watch that. I will actually watch this and enjoy it. Um, because this is the most this is the Misfit of Demon King Academy. There's nothing really special about this anime. It's stupid power fantasy with bullshit rules, but it's so fun. It's just so fun just watching the Hanos of all the God to see him perform all kinds of bullshit because he's the Demon King, of course. For some reason, it just works. It's just really enjoyable. The first season was meh. I mean, it was fun. The ending was total asshole, but it's fun. So I will probably watch that. And both already didn't watch the first season, so I won't watch the second one. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Yes, it is. Not watching that. But I mean, probably, maybe. I don't know. I dropped Danmachi at some point after season 2, so it's just not my cup of tea. I read Tomb Raider King and Omniscient Reader's Omniscient Reader Viewpoint. The MCs are pretty much carbon copies, but with different prior knowledge. I mean, yeah, but also no. But yeah. I mean, Dogja from Omniscient Reader is a pretty interesting character. I mean, not as a character per se, but his perspective and his viewpoint, if you will, brings certain excitement to the story, which happens to pretty much every time travel or I know how this will end story. But I must say, it's actually, I've read so many manhwas and web novels at this point that I can pretty much guarantee you that it's really hard to actually pull a good returnee story, a good regression story with the guy who knows all the stuff, all the ins and outs. It's really hard to write an actually captivating narrative, because it's really easy to write a story when your character is just, oh, he knows everything, he just can do this and he can do that, and he also has all sorts of riches hidden all throughout this fantasy continent when he's the most popular guy ever. It doesn't work. It becomes boring very quickly. You need to spice things up constantly. You need to develop relationship in a meaningful way so that they wouldn't be ruined by regression or some other event, or will be developed by an unexpected event instead of being just meaningless. But I'm going on a rant once more. Let's focus for a single minute on the actual anime season, because from this point onward, I want to actually keep track of the stuff that I'm watching. I want to pick up at least 3 to 5 series this season. A lot of them have at least 4 episodes at this point. So I want to watch some of them, make the watch out list video for them, and then see what the result will be. Read the whole ORV in the web novel, and gotta say the protagonist became a big fav by the end. Won't spoil why. By the ending, will both kill you and resurrect you. Yep. Later, fanboy is the resident omniscient reader's viewpoint connoisseur, if you would say so. So I believe it's safe to trust his word on that. Anyway, so far we have The Misfit of Demon King Academy second season, adventurers who don't believe in humanity will save the world. This one actually caught my attention when I first looked at the chart. So, and the rating here is pretty good. So I was planning to read that. Not read that. Sorry, to watch that. Let's read the synopsis real quick. The city of Turin in the Holy Kingdom of Dinez is a melting pot of races and professions. Adventurers looking to get rich quick-witted merchants, singing and dancing bards, nobles, holy men, beast folk, and more. The town itself is so labyrinthine that it has been nicknamed the Labyrinth Town. Nick, a heartbroken light warrior who has been kicked out of the martial arts adventuring party and deceived by his own lover, is a resident of the city. Fed up with everything, he visits a bar only to find bad food, adventurers living it up, and uninteresting table mates. As he drowns his sorrows in lukewarm beer, all of his irritation and discontent burst forth in one declaration: humans can't be trusted. He thought he was only voicing his own frustration, but in reality, the statement came from 4 voices. Thus begins the adventure of 4 people who each carry their own scars. So I've been pretty interested in this one, and now that it's actually been 4 episodes has been released so far, so I want to binge some of that stuff. The synopsis actually caught my attention because it sounds like it's going to have similar vibes to FFF rank Trash Hero, one of the web novels that I'm reading right now, about a frustrated hero who wants to have nothing in common with this fantastical world. And so the synopsis and the vibe that this series is giving me is kind of like that. What other stuff I was pretty interested in? So far, Misfit of Demon King Academy, adventurers who don't believe in humanity will save the world. Will save the world. The Angel Next Door spoils me rotten. I don't remember seeing this one. Huh? I don't remember much about it, so probably not interested. Oh, Mappa. Oh, yeah, sure. Mappa is releasing Campfire Cooking in Another World. So we'll probably look at that because everything Mappa touches somehow works in mysterious ways. So another isekai under my belt. I like the this, by the way, is the ORV discussion. I like the idea, but it's both a blessing and a curse because it's all of a sudden you can't have your MC be clever. I'll stop now so you can focus. I read the manga for adventurers who don't believe in humanity. Pretty nice story based on the first 4 chapters. Well, that's good to hear. Puts some faith into my heart in the fact that it will actually be kind of good. I was really looking forward to Nier Automata, but it got postponed, suspended. So that's a big yikes. I hope they resolve it and then I can actually watch the damn thing. You know what? Actually, not much is going on this season. I mean, like Tokyo Revengers is getting this Christmas showdown arc, which is pretty hype. I really can't stress enough how much better the manga for Tokyo Revengers is. It's like heaven and earth in terms of quality and actual like representation of characters. I mean, the anime adaptation does a pretty good job representing this story and all that stuff, but it's just so much better in manga format. There are those types of stories who just work better in manga form for some reason, and the Tokyo Revengers is definitely one of those. At least I believe that to be true. Apparently, 2 other shows also got cancelled halfway through. Which ones? Can you please tell me? Because I am not aware of that. Okay. So there is also a lot of sequels, like Inspector Season 2. The first one, you see, the concept behind Inspector is pretty good. But the whole detective stuff that was the selling point of Inspector was kind of lost on me in the first season. But I will watch the second season just because the concept is kind of cool and deserves attention, I believe. I've heard from some people that the second arc is actually better, so I'll just trust these unknown strangers that I've probably put too much faith into. Also, Buddy Dudgies from PA Works. I really liked Spike's Family, so this is kind of like that, but not like that. So I will probably check this one out too. And Ayakashi Triangle. I was trying to. I was not trying. That's not the right word. I was thinking. That's the word. I was thinking of watching that, but I guess I'm getting old. I just can't stomach these types of shows anymore, as well as I was before. Trigun Stampede, how could I forget? Yeah, Trigun Stampede is also the one on the list. The old Trigun, the original one, haven't aged that well, in my opinion. I tried to watch it. Just didn't work out. The quality was already too bad for me to care for the series, and I couldn't find a good sub for it as well, so that was probably part of the problem. So far we've zeroed on The Misfit of the Demon King Academy, Adventurers Who Don't Believe in Humanity Will Save the World, maybe Campfire Cooking in Another World. Okay, Nier Automata if it gets released. And then Inspector, Buddy Duddies, Trigun Stampede. Maybe Giant Beasts of Ours, because the concept and the visuals look really cool, and it's an original, so you should support your originals. It's just too much stuff to watch. Also wanted to check out High Guard purely because of the visuals and kind of the Great Snow Sea. But it's getting like too much stuff. The Fire Hunter probably is a good bet since it's just it gets a lot of recommendations. The novel is pretty good from what I've heard, so it's probably worth watching that. And that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. So I will be hovering somewhere in between these like 7 or 8 shows, and probably figure out stuff I will be watching like a little bit later. Like I have to get a proper taste of some of these shows to get an idea. Do I really want to watch them? Do I really want to finish them? Ayakashi Triangle. Oh, yeah. It was suspended. Yeah, true. Unite Up. I don't care about Unite Up. What piano piece is playing right now? It was this Desperation al Serie. You can watch up these. I'll give you you know what? I'll give you the link for this to this playlist so that you can find it easily later. So, the only one I am watching is Bloody Digest. Yeah, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, it's a pretty solid show. The other shows that got announced for the winter season got cancelled prior to the season. Apparently, there were supposed to be 66 shows this season. Yeah. Oh, by the way, these are not every show this season. I've hidden ongoings from past seasons. So there's actually a lot more shows. These are just the fresh ones. Yeah, OST is pretty good. Well, okay. Let's slowly wrap things up because I'm getting looked at menacingly. It's getting pretty late out here. Golden, I'm watching like all of the new ones this season, especially all the isekai. My boy. Yes. That's what I love to hear. I just, I'm busy reading all the cool stuff instead of watching it. So that's why I'm trying to make anime reviewing my job so that I could read and watch everything that I want professionally. And there is a way for you to make this little dream a reality or closer to reality. All you need to do is go to boosty.to/DaneandMecha, and if you are interested in, you can become a supporter of one of the tiers, and get all the stuff that is hidden behind the paywall, because it helps me. It genuinely helps me eat at the end of the month. I don't joke. It's actually true. Animus Vox, you actually helped me eat some 2 of the previous months, because close to 20th to the 30th dates are actually pretty brutal for me right now. Anyway, on this sad note, and shilling, um, now that you're all depressed, and I showed my boosty to you, I want to just um, um, I just want to say a few closing words because the stream is coming to an end. I have a lot of work that has to be done tomorrow. I have to finish a script for this week's video. I have to shoot a lot of stuff for my work. And also hopefully create some of the visuals for the video that is coming up this week, probably Sunday, since the stream was today on Tuesday. The video will be released on Sunday. It will be a how to write a good blank is protagonist, just like my most popular video so far. So I'm trying to replicate the success of this video. Thank you guys for joining the stream. Thank you guys for being here on the lookout for me discussing all the fun stuff, all the Mushoku Tensei related, and talking about the new anime season. It was pretty fun talking to you once again. I hope to do this kind of stuff more regularly if my schedule allows it. But hey, this year I want to take YouTube more seriously and dedicate a lot more time to it. So hopefully it means that I will stay true to my word and actually deliver all the great and fun content. So thank you all guys for watching. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. And I'll see you guys next time. It's been Denon. Take care and have a good day.